Okay, so I want to talk to you about two things. Earlier, I talked to you about how I made over $500 basically in earnings. Just so you know, I have made several withdrawals. I currently have my full original game amount that I used to buy my original keys out, and now I'm just buying, withdrawing, reinvesting, putting over in P3D. Like this game is the most fascinating, craziest thing. I mean, it's exciting and it's scary, crazy all at the same time. And I got a buddy of mine, he was asking me questions, and it made me kind of think a lot. And I ended up asking questions last night in the Discord. By the way, the P3D Discord is awesome. It's a great community in general. Of course, today they're all going nuts because they feel like they're getting rich overnight. Which, wow. Keep in mind, it took 11 days for this to get to 1,000 Ethereum, and in less than 24 hours, it went from 1,000 to 3,300. So everybody's going to feel great. And so, I mean, wow. Like, I don't even know where to begin. Let me just show you a couple things. First of all, this is insane. I only have 200 and something tokens, P3D tokens, and watch how fast this moves. If it's going to do it. I mean, I was sitting here earlier and just watching it. I mean, the banners were just flying across the screen, and I literally, I usually reinvest when I get over one token. I've literally probably reinvested, I don't know, 4 or 5 times this morning already. Like, it's absolutely insane. I'm gonna go ahead and reinvest this now. There's more buys right there. Gas is going up. We're gonna talk about that in a minute. I upped it so it would go through quicker. But and we'll just see what happens. The crazy thing about FOMO3D, keep in mind, a portion of the game in FOMO3D, a small portion of every key purchase goes back into the P3D ecosystem and basically adds Ethereum to the contract, which adds volatility, which adds rewards for all token holders. So it's fascinating. I mean, it's absolutely fascinating. And there's more games to come that they're going to add on top of FOMO3D. I'm going to refresh this. You don't have to refresh it, but it just makes it move faster. There you go. That is just insane. 257. Okay, so I want to talk to you about how does this all end, or does it end? What does that look like? The question I got last night from a buddy of mine is like, gosh, is this legal? So, and everybody likes to say things like, oh, it can't end, it can't stop, it can't do whatever. Let me just say this, first of all. Yes, it can end, and it ends by a couple of ways. One of the things that happens over time is it will end because the volume will leave if it ends. It will be because, I don't know if anyone's ever going to win this. Because here's the thing. There was, last night when I was asking questions, one of my questions was, I asked a couple of questions, so let me just back up. One of the questions I asked was, as I buy keys, if I stop buying keys, more keys are getting bought, then my number of keys is a much smaller percentage of the overall pie, and if I stop buying, then that pie is going to outrun the number of keys I have. So I asked, does rewards slow down? And here's the explanation I got. This makes total sense. Prices of the keys slowly go up higher and higher. So a while ago, 100 keys, or was it 1,000? No, it was 100, I think. I can't remember, so I'm not even going to tell you that price. It looks like it's going up. The key prices have gone up a lot since then. But the key prices go up slowly. And as key prices go up, if the same amount of keys are bought every single day, then that will naturally mean that even though there's more keys and you got a smaller piece of the pie, the price of the key increasing makes the size of the payouts per key larger. And so they said on the test net that actually meant that as long as the same amount of keys got purchased every single day, the way the math worked in the smart contract, then your actual daily earnings would actually grow a little bit. They wouldn't even stay the same, they would grow a little bit, is what they said. So, and I'm just repeating, don't take this as, fact positive. This is just what I was told last night in the Discord, and you go in the Discord and ask your own questions. However, this is what I was told. But if the same amount of Ethereum goes in every day, so if it's 1,000 Ethereum or 100 Ethereum goes in every single day, that 100 Ethereum is going to buy less and less keys because the price of the keys slowly goes up with every key purchase. So if it's just 100 Ethereum going in every day, then yes, over time your dividends will slow down if only 100 Ethereum goes in every day. And then that was followed by, but keep in mind, it's volume driven, so the amount of Ethereum can skyrocket at any time or it can pull back at any time. And the biggest determining factor on whether your dividends grow or not is really on how much Ethereum is coming into the contract. You can speculate that at the end, if we get to an end game, and I don't know that we ever will, if we get to an end game, you could speculate that maybe at that point there would be less people competing for that pot at the very end just because of economic and finances. So there'd be less and less people competing for it. So therefore there'd be less and less volume come in. That's a speculation that you can make, and therefore when you get to the end game phase, then maybe dividends slow down. But how do you determine where the end game is? Like there's no way to determine, oh, now we're clearly in the end game phase. That's where that whole psychological greed thing comes in. Do I keep reinvesting? Do I keep pulling out? Blah, blah, blah. Listen, if anything else, it's an absolute penny auction lottery. I mean, it is a lottery. Here's why I don't know if the game will end based on the game mechanics. I think there's ways that it could potentially end, but on the game mechanics alone, this is why it will not end. By the time there's 1 million ETH in the contract, a key 1 million. Now we're only at 3,000. So by the time we get 1 million, that's a $500 million pot approximately. One key will cost, I think it's at 0.17. I think I was right. 0.017. Here I can tell you. Because it was right around the price of, I'm not seeing it. I think it's 0.01 to get a vanity URL, and it was just over that. So it's I think it's 0.17. Sorry, 0.017. 0.017. That's what it was. 0.017. So that's nothing. That's a few dollars. Let's see. Let's take a look at what that is right now. So that's right. 0.017 is $7. But by that point, the pot's gonna be worth $500 million. Would people spend $7 for a chance to win $500 million? Yeah, for a long time they would. So on sheer game mechanics, I don't know if it ends. However, by the time this thing attracts 1 million Ethereum, it's going to start raising the price of Ethereum at some point. So here's how it can end. Ethereum prices go so high that key prices end up being more and more expensive. That potentially, but I think it's got to get more than a million Ethereum in the pot for that to happen. But it could potentially get to the point that people are paying hundreds and hundreds of dollars per key. And no matter how big the pot, at some point that's going to price people out. They can't afford to just keep trying for that big crazy pot. So at some point, and the psychology that a lot of people have of, well, I'm not going to ever win anyway. So why am I going to keep trying this? This is a waste of money. And I actually think if someone did win it, that's how it would happen. A lot of people who could bid would just choose not to bid. So, sorry for that interruption. So I don't know. Wow. So it's going to be fascinating to see what happens and how this all ends up working itself out. Just to show you a couple things already, gas prices have went up this morning from around 1 or 2 this morning to 5.7. And I have to think that's because of the amount of volume that FOMO3D is bringing as well. Also, FOMO3D is up to, I think, #1 on that radar. They're above the exchanges. I heard somebody say, which would make total sense with all the amount of volume that's been taking place. It's just been crazy. It's actually slowed down since I started my video. I mean, earlier, you just almost couldn't take your eyes off this. Oh, there you go. Never mind. Wow. So since I started this video, it's what, $50, $60, $70? Since I started this video. So that just tells you how crazy it's been. I mean, it's just absolutely crazy. And exciting and scary because I don't think people are seeing this as an investment. They're not realizing this is a game. At some point, people will slow down buying. I mean, it's not going to stay at, they can't speed up forever. So at some point it slows down and people are going to, get left holding the bag and whatnot. It is, I mean, if you wouldn't take the money to the poker table, you probably shouldn't bring it into FOMO 3D. I mean, that's the reality. Now, P3D is going nuts. I mean, there it goes. It's just going nuts. You guys saw me do that reinvestment a while ago. I'm already at 0.3 tokens. Normally, under normal circumstances, I get 1 to 2 tokens per day. 1 to 2 tokens per day. Now, who knows? I mean, people are getting excited and all this stuff. Who knows where it goes? Can this end? That's no one can shut down the smart contract. No one can shut down the smart contract. And if you don't understand that, you really need to research Ethereum smart contracts on the blockchains. You need to understand the basics of Bitcoin. Once you understand that, you'll realize nobody can shut down the smart contract. What can happen is volume dries up. Now, and this ties into why would volume dry up? People aren't going to just lose interest. Well, negative press. I mean, if this thing gets big enough, there are unfortunately going to be people out there who are going to be trying to borrow, $100,000 against their house, pour money out of their 401ks. I mean, people do this kind of stuff all the time. And at that point, then there are going to be people that are victims of their own circumstances, of their own poor decision making. And that kind of stuff gets press coverage when it does. It's like when BitConnect went down, people were like, oh, I put in my, 401k because I thought it was legit. Who cares if you thought it was legit? You shouldn't put in your 401k. But, irrational people in the moment, it gets exciting, it gets crazy. You just do whatever. When you see numbers moving like this, you feel like you can't lose. Listen, I can tell you right now, that's why I pulled out all the actual Ethereum that I put in to the contract. And that's why, because you just never know. I'm actually going to add some money to FOMO later from other investments that I have. And the whole idea of putting it into P3D, FOMO and P3D, just because I believe in the space. I mean, I'm going to play FOMO, but P3D is the mainstay. Like P3D is, you can't sell this. You can only withdraw your earnings. P3D, you can sell your tokens all day long. It's just a cryptocurrency investment. But the space in and of itself is really interesting. And this is how so here's what happens. Once it gets negative press, and it will, there are going to be, at some point, governments will get involved. People are like, can't wait till it goes mainstream. That's not going to happen. By the time it goes mainstream, it will be very negative because they're going to highlight people that have made bad decisions, hurt themselves. They're going to highlight all the money going in. People borrow money against their houses and they always find the worst, the people who's made the worst decisions to highlight. And at some point, government intervention comes in. So what can the government do? What they can do is slow down volume. They can attack the website. They can do all sorts of things that have to cause people to interact directly with Etherscan and have to interact directly on the blockchain. That, in and of itself, is still possible. They still haven't shut down the contract, but it slows down the volume. And so what that would mean for this game is that's probably when a winner would occur, by the way, because enough people can't get into bid that want to bid because you got to deal with a very technologically advanced. All this in a website does is makes it very simple and pretty to deal with the blockchain. But if you have to go directly to the blockchain, even I can figure it out with enough YouTube videos and reading, but I find it very, very, very challenging. There are backup links and that sort of thing, but I mean, keep in mind, if this thing goes that crazy big, there are ways to slow down people's awareness. Less people will play, less people will be a part of it. And what that would do for P3D, well, first of all, the price of P3D would probably go down. Ethereum and the contract would go down. Less rewards. I mean, initially you're going to make rewards on people selling, but the less people that are using it means there's less buys, less sales. Does it still exist? Yes. Is it still profitable? Probably a tiny bit. To what degree? Who knows? Do the value of the P3D tokens still have much value in it? It's hard to say. It's really hard to say. So the greatest risk there's two risks. I don't think government shutting it down, or by the way, if you already know lotteries are illegal in your area, or you're not allowed to play games of chance online or whatever, you really shouldn't be playing FOMO3D because you're technically breaking the law in your area, just so you know. And I say that saying that there are some places that have laws that will tell you that, but they don't consider cryptocurrency. In some jurisdictions, they don't consider it a currency or anything like that. So even though they may have a law and you can't play poker online, you can still play FOMO3D in some jurisdictions. In other jurisdictions, they do consider it currency. So there's all these complicated things that don't matter in a way because it's small-ish right now. But as it got bigger and bigger, it literally could become a victim of its own success. And I actually don't, governments tend to be slower to respond. I mean, if they send a cease and desist out, I don't know who they would send it to shut it down. There's not a way to actually do that. They can't send a cease and desist to an individual. They would actually have to, reach out to domain hosting companies and things like that and get them to stop allowing the website. Basically, they'd have to take down the website in some way. What's more likely to happen is this thing stresses the heck out of the Ethereum network. This thing is going to stress Ethereum like there's nobody's business if it keeps going. If it keeps going and people keep finding out about it, it's going to stress Ethereum like it is nobody's business. I mean, by the time it starts pulling in millions of Ethereum, the Ethereum network hasn't seen anything like that yet. So it's going to be fascinating to see what happens. And it's exciting. Like, this is so exciting because it's kind of testing Ethereum, basically. It's kind of testing cryptocurrency. It's fun to be a part of it. It's fun to watch it. It's fun to sit. It would be fun to watch it even if I wasn't in the game. It would just be fascinating to watch and to see how it kind of all plays out. Keep in mind, there's still going to be the quick FOMO3D. That's going to be interesting when that comes out. The quick FOMO3D. So that's going to add more stress on the Ethereum network. In the beginning, it won't matter because it's small. But again, by the time you get to millions of Ethereum in the contract, that's going to be very, very, very interesting to see how this all plays out. Stay tuned. I wouldn't get into FOMO3D unless you realize that you're just playing a game of chance. If you're in the cryptocurrency space and you wanted to look at P3D, this isn't financial advice, it's just me. That would be something more to look at. If you're not into playing any sort of game of chance, I would not necessarily start with FOMO3D. That's just me. If I was going to invest in this space, I would invest P3D. FOMO3D is not an investment of any kind, of any level, in any way, shape, or form. It's a lottery that you are gambling in. There's no way for me to withdraw these keys. It is not possible. That money's essentially there. I gotta wait until the round ends and I can get maybe I can get a third of what I spent on keys back, maybe, when the round ends, if it ends. That's what's fascinating. So don't think there's not any risk here, but at the same time, this is crazy. Since I've been on this, let's see where we're at. Yeah. Okay, so you've watched it, almost $200 since I started making this video. Okay, that's crazy. I don't even know what to say about that. Like, I don't even know. It's mind-blowing to me. Absolutely mind-blowing. If you want to read all about it, you can come over. I'll put a link below. You can look at FOMO3D, but you can come over here, look at the wiki quick start guide, and just read through this entire thing right here. This is what I would do. Read through this entire thing just to kind of understand it before you, even if you want to play, before you play, you need to read this wiki quick start guide thoroughly. Make sure you understand what's going on. Make sure you understand, what the risks are and whatnot. But anyway, thank you so much for watching this video. I wasn't trying to be boring. I just wanted to be, yes, I can be on here. I can get excited. It is exciting. It is crazy. But in a weird way, it's kind of fascinating and scary all at the same time. That's just the reality of it. I hope that makes sense to you. I'd love to hear your feedback. Leave comments below. If you're playing, or if you're just watching, or if you're just a crypto enthusiast, or if you're a novice, just let me know what your thoughts are on this whole crazy phenomena. Thank you so much for watching.